For many of us, it's easy as turning on the faucet, but in some countries, finding clean drinking water is nearly impossible. Felipe has the story of one kid who's helped whole villages drink safely.
Ryan Hreljac took on a big task when he was just a little boy.
Well, it all started in my grade 1 classroom.
Ryan learned about less fortunate kids in other countries. Some didn't even have clean drinking water.
And I guess that just hit me in a way that I could walk 10 steps out of my classroom to the drinking fountain when there are people on the other side of the world who had to walk 5 kilometers to get to a muddy puddle to drink water that could lead to their death.
In fact, more than 1 billion people around the world don't have access to safe drinking water. Jimmy was one of them. Born in the African country Uganda, he remembers water from what was basically a large puddle.
It was like drinking a hot chocolate.
Well, not exactly. See, that's not how the water tasted. Jimmy's describing how it looked. Dirty or not, his family needed that water, and Jimmy walked about 20 miles to get it. He did this every morning before school.
There's no other choices, so you need liquid to survive.
Through their classrooms, Jimmy and Ryan became pen pals, and soon friends. Their story is told in this new book, Ryan and Jimmy and the Well in Africa that brought them together. Still in the first grade, Ryan was told it would cost only $70 to build a well in Jimmy's village. He asked his parents for the money. They told him he could earn it doing chores.
So we did extra chores for 4 months. So things like vacuuming, washing windows, out of the ordinary 6-year-old chores to get an allowance. And after 4 months, I raised that $70.
But Ryan was in for a shock. It turned out that $70 was not enough. The cost was really $2,000.
But then I realized I can't raise $2,000 by vacuuming my house, so I started getting the community involved. I started doing a little public speaking. There was a newspaper article. People started to help, and we raised that $2,000, and now we've gotten to the point where I've been doing this for 9 years, over half my long, hardy life, I guess.
In fact, Ryan has been so successful, he and his family were able to start a charity. Called Ryan's Well Foundation, it has built over 200 wells in 12 countries. But it was that first well that is the most memorable. When he was only 8 years old, Ryan traveled to Uganda to see it for himself. He was welcomed by hundreds of thankful villagers, including Jimmy.
It's an eye-opener to see how grateful people are for the most basic necessity of life.
Jimmy didn't only struggle for clean water, he was an orphan. But now Ryan's family is Jimmy's. They brought him to their home in Canada for a visit, and he never went back. They adopted him.
Before we are living together, we are friends, but now we live as brothers now.
As his English improves, Jimmy plans to help out more with Ryan's Well Foundation. Their dedication shows kids can make a difference.
If you took the smallest action, no matter how small, just to make the littlest positive change in the world, and if everyone did that more and more, then soon the world would be a better place for everyone.
I guess you can say Ryan is one kid who has certainly done well.
Want news you can use? We've got it on Teen Kids News.